All right, what up? You guys know the drill by now. I got a couple things I want to talk about, a couple things I want to show you. So without any more introduction, let's get into it. So I came to you guys last week with this idea for an application that essentially came from this thought of how as we get older and as our parents get older and our grandparents get older, they're unfortunately obviously going to pass away. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people say is after one of their loved ones has passed away, they tend to forget the sound of that loved one's voice. And so I was thinking, because in my own life, my grandma has dementia, that it'd be cool for there to be an app where you can basically be prompted to answer questions about your own life and just kind of have a conversation that could be recorded, and then either your children or grandchildren can come back whenever they want and listen to your voice for the rest of time after you've passed away. So that's kind of the idea that I'm running with here, and I want to show you guys kind of the little bit of progress that I have made. Because originally I thought as we get older, our parents, our grandparents, they all have these really good memories and life advice that we may never get to hear if we don't ask them about it. And of course, it's like, make the time now to ask them about it and get to know them, of course. But there's still going to be things, even if they've told you them before, that it'd still be nice to hear it back after they're gone, right? And so my whole thought was like, why not make an application where you can have these conversations with them and it gets recorded, and then you can come back and listen to those conversations whenever you want. And yeah, I know, like, you can record it on your phone or whatever, but I think it'd be cool to have a centralized platform that just has it all there, and I would love to make it free for everyone to use. Like, I think that's something that everyone would enjoy using, is a platform where you can come and you can bring it up with your grandparents or your parents whenever you see them, and you can just kind of have it there in the background, either prompting you for a conversation or just simply just sitting there and listening and recording the conversation, so that when the time comes that you do want to listen back to it and they've passed, you can. So this is what I got so far. It's not functional at all, but as you can see, we have the dashboard here. This is where the conversations would be saved. And then I'm thinking this right here would be like where you connect your other family members, just like kind of like Google Drive, if that makes sense. Now, none of the buttons work. None of these actually do anything. It's all just kind of here right now as a template, because I use Cursor to vibe code the entire thing. Now, here's my reasoning behind this. I've only been learning how to program for about a year, but I really wanted to just make this idea come to life as soon as possible. And so my thought was that why not use Cursor and try out some vibe coding to just get it out there, get it in front of me, because I can use Cursor and vibe coding to create a really solid MVP that's just functional, performs the very basic tasks that I want the application to do. And then I can find someone who actually understands programming on a deeper level than I do right now that can at least help me look through it or help me go through it. And at least, because here's the big problem. I'm using Cursor and I'm vibe coding, and I don't know if the code's actually good or not, right? So right now it's all about functionality. I just want to get a really solid MVP that works the way I want it to, and then I can have someone help me make it better. So that's why I've gone down this route of choosing to use Cursor to vibe code the whole thing right now, just so that I can get something out there that actually performs the task that I want it to, and then I can refine it down the line and get help from people who actually have real world experience, because right now I just don't have enough experience to do this by myself without using AI. So that's kind of my thought process on why I'm using Cursor right now, is to just get it out there so that I can create something functional and then refine it down the line. But it's just crazy to think about how it's like, this was just an idea in my head 2 weeks ago, and now there is, something physically in front of me. So without AI, like, that wasn't very possible too long ago. And that, like, to me, that's pretty crazy how it's like you can go from idea to having a physical thing in front of you because of AI. Like, that wasn't possible unless you knew how to program and you were really good at it, right? But nowadays, almost anyone has access to building really cool ideas without having a bunch of experience in programs. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, so for right now, this is what I got. As you can see right here is where you start your new conversations. This is where you can invite your other family members, and this is where you can listen back to the conversations. And then it just has kind of a little dashboard down here where you can see some recent conversations. And then these stats don't mean anything right now, obviously. But yeah, this is what I got so far. Let me know what you guys think about the overall design and the UI. And also, if you can think of any other features that you guys would like to see, let me know. Now, even though that entire app is vibe coded, I am still learning how to actually program. And I've been learning JavaScript since about April. So like 5 months now, I guess. And while I'm not cracked by any means necessary, as you can see, it is slowly starting to make a little bit more sense. But it's like there's no reference data in my brain to be like, okay, well, if you want to do this, you need to start here. And so I'm finding my biggest roadblock right now is that when I open VS Code, I can't just sit here and start coding. You know what I mean? Like, I find that's my biggest struggle, is that I don't have like this reference data in my mind to just look back on and be like, oh, okay, this is how you would kind of do this. And I know it's like, if I just did it more, I would get better at it and it would stick more. But I think that's just my biggest roadblock right now. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what to do to get to that next level of understanding, because as everyone says, like, you don't want to just be in tutorial hell for too long. You want to start doing projects and building things. But I find anytime I go to try and actually start building a project, I get started and I kind of follow along. But even then, it's like, I find the hard part is that a lot of these tutorials or a lot of this project-based learning, you go in to start building the project and they just kind of give it all to you. you, like, and maybe this is just me, this might just be a me problem, but I find that they just feed you the information too easily, and so I'm still not learning anything. So that's kind of just where I'm at. Like, it's making a little bit more sense day by day, but I'm still struggling just a little bit, you know? So that's kind of just an update on my actual programming journey. But, you know, we're going to keep working at it. Now, to just completely change the topic, I had a bit of an interesting week when it came to social media last week, especially on like the TikTok side of things. But essentially what happened is I made a post talking about one of my personal experiences, and a bunch of people just, I guess, really didn't agree with what I had to say, which is totally fine. But it made me think about some things on a little bit of a deeper level. And then I also had some conversations with a couple other of my creator friends that just, we were all just kind of talking about like what it means to deal with hate comments and how some people just have a really hard time dealing with them in general, right? Myself included sometimes. Like last week, I ended up getting totally rage baited, like super hard in my comment section, and just wasted like 30 minutes of my life just going back and forth with this person who they just want to get a reaction out of me, and they totally got it. So, but it's just funny, right? Because like our brains work in two ways. We have our logical side and our emotional side. The right thing to do is to think logically most of the time, but unfortunately, because of the way our brains are wired, most of the time when anything happens in our lives, we react emotionally first, which is so funny because it's like as kids we're told to like think before you speak, and that's actually like when you're telling a kid to think before they speak, that's really hard to do when you think about it on like an actual psychological level, because you're literally telling someone to override the way that their brain operates on a normal level, which is to react emotionally first and then logically. So when you're telling someone to think before they speak, you're asking them to almost look into the future and think about the impact of the words that they're about to say to someone else, or whatever the case is, right? And so it's like, it's just kind of an interesting idea. But with all that being said, it's like negative comments are a weird one, because when you obviously put yourself out there on the internet, you're putting yourself out there. And so when someone leaves a hate comment, it feels like a personal attack almost, because they're directly criticizing you, right? But I always try to remember this, and it's super hard because like in the moment, it's hard to get into that illogical state of thinking. But it's like, I always try to remember, I think this is something Gary Vee says, is that it's try to lead with compassion when it comes to hate comments. Because a lot of time the people leaving these comments, they're just trying to get you down to their level, right? Because they're not happy with their current situation. And one of the things that I've heard a lot of time is that it's like someone doing better than you is never going to try and put you down. It's always people that are trying to bring you down to their level because they're not happy with their current situation. And a lot of the time, like the people leaving hate comments, they're not even leaving them because they're hateful people. They're usually just lonely or looking for some sort of connection with another person out there because they have no one else in their life, which is why it's important to try to remember to lead with compassion when it comes to these hate comments. And like, I'm not perfect. I get caught in it sometimes where you end up going back and forth with someone and then it's just like, oh my God, what am I doing? But it's just an important thing to realize that like if you want to be posting content, it's like you are going to get hate comments, and to try not to take it personally, because a lot of the time it has nothing to do with you or what you're saying. It has everything to do with what's going on in that person's life at that time. Most of the time, these people really only want someone to talk to, and they're just looking to get a reaction out of you. Now, this is kind of wild, but I was reading my book the other day, and did you know there was a study conducted by economists where they found that people who were considered more attractive get paid considerably more than their less attractive coworkers? So that means looks maxing is actually more important than we think. Because think about it, according to this study, the more attractive you are, the more likely you are that you'll get paid more. So if you're broke, it's because you're ugly. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously that is kind of an interesting fact. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this is actually what I want to talk about the whole video, but recently I started playing Halo again with my younger brother, because so when we were kids, that was the very first-person shooter that I ever played, was Halo 3. And I haven't played it in a long time. And so the other night, me and my brother, we were hanging out having a couple of drinks, and we were getting on the topic of Halo, and he'd never played Halo 2 before. So I was like, dude, we gotta play Halo 2. I was like, you've never played the Halo 2 campaign? I was like, we gotta run that shit, because it's an awesome campaign. And so we booted it up, we got the split screen going like good old times, and we ran through the whole campaign, and it was awesome because like I said, that's what I grew up on. Like Halo is probably my favorite game series ever. And playing it with my younger brother who's never played it before was so awesome because we played all the other games together. Like I love Halo Reach. Halo Reach is awesome. Halo 3 is by far one of my most favorite campaigns like ever. I love it, especially that last mission. Like you guys know what I'm talking about. That last mission where you're riding, it's a Halo ring, right? Yeah. 343 Guilty Spark just killed Sergeant Johnson, and then you have to rip through this Halo ring while it's blowing up and the music's going crazy and the flood's chasing you. Like, I love that campaign. And so, because he never played Halo 2, I was like, oh, dude, we have to do this. So we played Halo 2, finished the campaign. He loved it. We did the remastered version just because the graphics look fucking sick. But yeah, like I mostly just want to talk about this because like it's such a cool game, and I hadn't played it in so long, and like it gave me so much nostalgia just remembering all the good memories of Halo. And like I remember playing Halo Reach, and like fuck, what was the max rank for Halo Reach? Inheritor? Was that what it was? And it's like I remember going into a game lobby of multiplayer, and if you saw someone with that Inheritor badge, it was just like, oh shit, this is about to get real. And you always hope they were on your team. So it's like, I don't know, it's just, I really love those games. And then recently my Instagram feed has just been suggesting me a lot of Halo content. It's just, I don't know, it's just awesome. So I just want to talk about that because I thought it was kind of cool. So, last thing I want to talk about. By the time this gets posted, I will literally be a week away from going to university for the very first time. And honestly, I'm nervous and excited. I'm nervous for the schoolwork because I just don't know how much of a workload is going to be yet, right? So it's like I'm just anticipating, trying to imagine what it's going to be like, how I'm going to structure my days around it. And so that's got me a little bit nervous, especially because like I'm very like particular when it comes to just organization. I really like things being organized and planned. That's just kind of like my personality. I really like that stuff. And so that's got me a little nervous just because obviously I have my schedule, but I just don't know how it's all going to fit into the rest of my life when it comes to like, you know, doing things like this, hanging out with my girlfriend, going to the gym, making time for all of the things that we have in life, right? And so a little nervous on that front, but I'm also really excited to go in and like learn new information and get a better understanding of programming and computer science as a whole, just so that I can, you know, just have more skills under my tool belt. So it's like I'm excited for that as well, and also just meeting new people that are my age or younger or a little bit older, all trying to just improve their lives. I'm really excited to go to be surrounded by that environment and just kind of see what it's like. So I'm nervous and excited. As I was talking about in the last video, I have a math test on the very first week that's going to be like a comprehension test. And so a lot of people were suggesting for me to get caught up by using Khan Academy. And so I have been, and I've just been doing the pre-calculus modules. And so far it's been going pretty good. I got an email from the school again, basically giving me a bunch of practice tests before the first week of school. So I'm gonna be banging those out this week. I'm gonna be continuing on Khan Academy. I'm gonna keep trying to build this application for you guys, and I'm also going to just keep trying to have a little bit of fun because it's the last week. And so yeah, that's kind of the plan. And then yeah, I guess we'll be starting university next week. So that's kind of all I want to talk about today, and see you guys in the next one.